Hello everyone, this is a sequel to my winter solstice video. I could have put this portion into that one as well, although it would have been very long and I didn't want to have it longer than a half an hour. But this portion is specifically for those who study astrology and are interested in karmic astrology. If you are a layman, you probably won't fully understand it, but I will try. I'll try to do my best. And this is about declinations. What are declinations? They provide another coordinate, which you won't be able to see from the chart wheel because the chart wheel is simply two-dimensional. But in reality, this is a sphere, not a circle. And as such, it has another coordinate. And actually, it's funny because in karmic astrology, we are utilizing two circles, and out of the two circles, one and another one coordinate. What do I mean? The zodiac has two coordinates, right ascension and longitude. And I mix it up. Okay, let's start it again. So because you're using right ascension and declination for the celestial equator, and we are using longitude and latitude for the ecliptic. And out of these four coordinates, in karmic astrology, we are using only two because we are interested first and foremost in the exact position of a planet, where it is on the zodiac wheel. But we are also interested in whether or not it is close or far away from the celestial equator, and those are the declinations. Because the Earth says axis is tilted. It has a 23.5 degree angle. That's why we have declination. So that's why it's interesting or important where exactly on the according to the celestial equator the planets are. And whenever let's start with an important sentence. Even already in Mesopotamia, the Chaldean priests realized that the sun does a sinus wave in its yearly travel. Okay, we are just approaching the winter solstice, and it is at its southernmost position. It is on the ecliptic, on the celestial equator twice a year, on March 20th and on September 23rd. And it is at its northernmost position during the summer solstice on approximately the 21st or 22nd of June. And within this yearly dance, it makes a sinus wave, but not just the sun itself, but all the planets are doing the same. Depending on their orbital period, this sinus wave could be very fast, like for the moon, and quite long, like for instance Pluto. But they still do, and occasionally they leave the 2 points, the two farthest points of this sinus wave, and whenever they are within the ecliptic, we say that those planets are on a stage, on a universal stage for us, and they are actually acting out our drama. And sometimes these planets can step out of these bounds. That's why we are calling them out of bounds, and can step into darkness. And it's the phenomena is exactly the same as whenever you, let's say you are at a party, it is in a house in the country, and everyone is drinking and having fun, and you either just want to have a moment for yourself or you want to make a phone call. So you're stepping out into the garden, into the darkness, so to speak. You can still see or feel or hear what's going in there, but those who are in there no longer have any contact with you. You still have some with them. You can recognize that something is going on there, but you're not interested. You just went into the garden. Now, if you travel further down the garden or you go to the back of the house, you kind of lose your connection with whoever is in there. And if you are just a bypasser and not a guest, you may recognize or you may register that, yeah, oh yeah, they are having a party, but that's it. And you move on, and you don't have any connection to whatsoever to what is in there. That's exactly what happens to out of bounds planets. And what is important from a karmic viewpoint is that, why do they go out? Good question. It's always the result of extreme pain, usually physical pain, usually torture or any kind of pain. Think about the fact that we weren't able to alleviate pain up till the 19th century, actually. So you couldn't take a pill for pain. Yes, there were certain methods, but there was no universal anesthetic until the 19th century. So pain was very much with us, and extreme pain was something that we felt all the time. And as a result, we think about when you have a strong pain or something, either physical or emotional pain, what happens is you lose consciousness, you faint. Now that's exactly what's happening. The soul simply can't bear it any longer and just exits for a while, or just leaves for a couple of minutes or seconds. And that's exactly so that's the karmic reason why we have extreme declination or out of bounds planets. And during the solstices, the summer and the winter solstice, we kind of have the sun in out of bounds. Technically not, because the curve of the ecliptic is defined by the sun itself. So by definition, it could not really actually become out of bounds. But if we take them as the outermost positions, then we get very close to the concept. And those who have such a sun, who were born around the solstices, usually have a very funny relationship to themselves. They are very conscious, and also they can step out of the human quality. Let's put it this way. Now, if you take a look at out of bounds planets, I mean, I'm going to do this in a minute. They can act quite strange in a very strange form. So the people themselves can be very strange. And the more out of bounds it is, the stranger the person or the person's reactions are. An out of bounds moon is not at all rare. And actually, the moon has a 19-year cycle, which nobody has ever speaks about. Since the moon is orbiting around the Earth and not around the sun, it has a funny relationship to the ecliptic. For 10 years, it gets always out of bounds every time it goes to the southernmost or northernmost point, and actually could go as far as 5 degrees above or below the ecliptic. So you can have a moon with a 28.5 declinational position. It's not at all rare. And so that's happening for 10 years. For 10 years, every 27 days, the moon will be out of bounds to the north, and every half 27 and a half. So it's like 13 and a half or 13, 14 days. It will go to the other side, and always out of bounds. And then for 9 years, it will be never out of bounds, because it will turn around at 18 and a half degrees approximately. So 5 degrees before reaching the outermost positions. And the moon, such a moon is an alien moon. Such a moon is an alien soul. This person could be very much alienated from his or her family. He could feel very strange, as strange as is a good word, perhaps. And he can have very strong subconscious urges and understanding and premonitions, but it is very, very hard for him to verbalize these feelings. They kind of stay in the feeling section, and it's very hard for him or her to blend into society. So that's the moon. Mercury could be quite beneficial, because an out of bounds Mercury actually stays out there, has this universal understanding. So Uranus is already the higher octave of Mercury, but this Mercury can function most of the time as a Uranus, as a flashes of inspiration or understanding or the aha feeling, but also as trans-Pluto, which is channeling. And it's always rational, it's always plausible, it's always graspable, and so that's quite useful. And out of balance Venus, of course, when we think about the fact that Venus is almost never retrograde because it has a very even orbit, but when it becomes retrograde, it makes a loop upwards. So it's like this. So most of the retrograde planets make an S form, but Venus makes a loop like this. And so it's a double whammy if you consider it, because a retrograde Venus is karmically wounded anyway, and an out of bounds planet carries a lot of pain anyway. So you have to research whether that particular Venus, when it's retrograde, whether it's also out of bounds as well. If it is a double whammy, then it could cause a lot of pain regarding relationships, self-worth, money issues, insecurities, and if at the same time it can work quite well as well, because everyone has some money outside, so you can actually bring down money, so to speak, if you need it. And an out of bounds Venus is able to do it either instinctually or consciously. Whenever he or she needs money, she knows the channels, how to draw down money to the earth plane. So it's quite useful, could be useful. But the fact remains that she or he could suffer from relationship issues as well. Also, Mars, that's the last personal planets out of bounds. And Mars, whenever it is out of bounds, it gives you the potential to feel the chi energy, the life force energy. So these people are very good at practicing martial arts, for instance, or anything that needs this feeling of the chi flow. Or they could be also, well, they could be warriors, of course, and they could work with resonance. So they could actually be healers who utilize resonance or energy fields. So these are the planets when they are retrograde, when they are out of bounds. And on the 21st, at the moment of the winter solstice, all 5 personal planets are out of bounds. It's a very funny moment, really. I put together a chart for you. On the one side, you have the same chart that I delineated in the previous video. And the big one shows you the 7 visible planets. And as you can see, the moon is in Sagittarius. Sun, Venus, and Mercury are in Capricorn. Sun is at 0 degrees Capricorn, of course. And opposite them in Gemini, there's Mars. And here are the travels. Okay, what do I do here? Sorry, can't see my mouse. Yes. So in this table, I took it from Solar Fire, of course, and you can see the positions, the astrological positions of these 5 personal planets. Mars is certainly retrograde still, and you see the daily travel, which you can see that the moon is quite fast at the moment. Mars is half its normal travel. Mercury, Venus, and Mars are just average. And you can see the declinations. The sun is at its southernmost declination, 23 degrees and 26 minutes. And that is the position for the sun when it's extreme. So that's its most extreme position. So technically speaking, the program didn't put it in a magenta color because the sun cannot technically be out of bounds since it is defining the ecliptic, but we in karmic astrology consider this position as as extreme, as out of bounds. And as you can see, Mercury is just out of bounds with 23 degrees and 29 minutes. But Mars, for instance, is 24 degrees 47 minutes, so it's really, really out of bounds. And here are the planetarium pictures, so you can actually check them out. So the sun, the solstice sun, is on the ecliptic at its furthest position potential. And the rest of them are, you can see that these tiny yellow dots are the ecliptic, and each of them are out there. And then Mars is on the other side of the globe, the celestial globe. Here's the position for the outermost, so the highest position, so to speak, because that's the summer solstice point. And Mars in Gemini is really a lot, like at least 2.5 degrees above the ecliptic. So those are the positions at the moment. All 5 personal planets are out of bounds, are out there in the universe, so they can bring you universal gifts and understanding. Thank you for listening. Happy solstice. Bye-bye.